Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hey everyone, we're going to be looking at the big three here, just a little nightly recap as to the going-ons of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Today went pretty much exactly as anticipated in terms of just a consolidation inside bar day. I would have been very surprised if we broke the high specifically, but even if we broke the low of yesterday with all that volatility, that would have been very surprising for me. So I know that on Bitfinex, we did break down to lower lows on some exchanges. As far as I'm concerned, that's an anomaly and an outlier. I, of course, am continuing to chart on Coinbase as that is what I am trading on. But the fact that Coinbase charts are doing exactly what was anticipated just in terms of these patterns, these equilibrium patterns after volatility continuing to play out time and time again. So the fact that it played out that way on Coinbase and Bitfinex was the only place that it did not. Again, I'm viewing that as an anomaly and I am disregarding that chart and continuing to chart on Coinbase where things are going very nicely. So on Bitcoin, we have the inside bars on the daily time frame. So the range of the mother bar is wide and very volatile. The range of today fit inside of it. And then this candlestick started forming an hour and a half ago. And we're going to watch to see if we form another inside bar. I wouldn't be surprised if we did. If we don't, it's going to be a bear break in my opinion. I am still very, very cautious on entries here. And in fact, I didn't trade cryptocurrencies today. I actually take that back. I did make one very small flip. But I was trading Canadian MJ. It was a much more favorable setup. And when you are comfortable with technical analysis and are able to maneuver in different markets, you're able to pick the easiest setup. So you're not forced to trade in conditions where, you're not very sure of things. I can go over to oil if oil has a pattern that's very clear and the break level will be very clear. If this resistance breaks, I can play that, or I can go over to Canadian MJ or to Apple stock, or it just opens up the whole world in terms of what you can trade. And again, you want to choose the most favorable setups that have the highest win percentage chance of playing out, and that allows you to maneuver and be agile. So when we are in consolidation mode, which we are in right now, my trading completely shifts, which is why I like to, voice we are in consolidation mode, we are in breakout mode, because that shifts my game plan. When we're in breakout mode like we've been for the past few weeks, I'm trading nonstop. I'm trading, 4 or 5 times a day. When we enter consolidation mode, I'm trading once a day or once every other day. My trading, I would say, cuts back about 80%. I'm trading 20% as much as I was trading the last 2 weeks. And that is because my game plan and what I am doing is going to reflect what the market is doing. And if our bullish opportunities are limited, then my trading is going to be limited. If we try and do the same thing in the same style in all markets, we will lose money and give it back. We have to focus in and adjust and see what's coming and have our game plan dictate that. So I know, sitting on your hands is hard. If you've got the bug and you're really enjoying technical analysis and trading and learning, you want to just keep going and hit it and keep trading. But that's what I'm talking about. When you have the ability to maneuver in different markets, you can still do that with favorable setups. Canadian MJ, we were very clear on what we were doing today. There were big gains there, 5 to 10% movers. And that's what we were looking for. And the fact that it was so clear, I could very easily disregard cryptocurrency today and have my time completely taken up with those other trades. So here on Bitcoin, on the daily inside bar, the range is 91.35 support and 10.85 resistance. So we were looking for a higher low to form. This is the 4-hour time frame, and I believe the 4-hour time frame has the best visualization of where we stand right now on everything. So we have our high, low, lower high, higher low formed at the low of today. And now we're looking to form a lower high. And we're a little bit weaker than I thought we would be, in all honesty. I thought tonight we would be in the mid $10,000 range, and I was looking for our lower high to be set around 10.4, 10.5 or so. So that's not happening right now. We are weaker. I'm very cautious because I think we could be entering multiple days, if not a week or two of consolidation, which means Bitcoin could be headed down to 8,000, 7,000. So I am not forcing anything, and I'm being very patient, being all cash, and looking to wait for when the bulls show back up. So it's a clear lower high, higher low pattern on the 4-hour time frame. We have multiple inside bars. We did barely get a bull break here. Didn't get any follow through on that. That was a $22 higher high before we pulled back again. So I am disregarding any kind of signals right now, other than the only trades that I'm making right now. I'm not trusting the bulls on any bull breaks. I'm only looking for oversold bounces at this point. Otherwise, I'm just patiently waiting. So we look at the hourly time frame for Bitcoin. We had a nice inside bar indicate the bottom. We had oversold 15-minute RSI, and just looking at the alert indicators this morning, we had the RSI hit oversold, and we had the bullish MACD cross shortly after as the confirmation. I've talked in the past about the MACD being a lagging indicator, and I use that as my confirmation. So if I get in an oversold bounce and then I get the alert from the alert system that the bull MACD cross has gone through, that's my confirmation that, okay, we're going to see some oversold bounce play out. It's also important to note that we can have some false signals, and not necessarily false signals, but just signals that don't play out. So here we had the RSI touch 30 on the 15-minute time frame. We had a nice bounce play out for almost 2 hours, but then it was completely erased and it fell back down. This is the kind of scenario that is important to protect your trades. So this could very easily have been the bounce that we were looking for. It, of course, didn't end up being that way. And we did get a bull MACD cross just barely here as well. The difference would be, if you're entering a trade like this, you need to obviously have the stop level. So let's say you enter on the 15-minute oversold bounce. Your stop level, worst case scenario, is going to be if we break this and set a lower low. And ideally, your stop loss would be break even. So let's say you're in a trade on maybe the second 15-minute candlestick here. You get in and we start to see some upside. And if you're not taking profit yet and you want to see the trade play out a little bit longer, you're waiting, and then the bears take back over, and you're getting the red flags now, increasing bear volume. So ideally, you would stop out, either break even or a small loss, and then have the opportunity to re-enter cheaper. And then we did see those signals follow through this time. So you want to always be protecting your trade, because it's not always going to be the setup that plays out. But if you are protecting your trade and having good risk management, as I just detailed here, you would be able to get stopped out in, let's say, 4 trades roughly, and you would be able in one successful trade to make that up. So I'm just making those numbers up, but that's roughly what it would be. So if you are, at break-even stop loss, of course, you can do that for infinity and you're not going to lose anything. But if you have small losses, you can eat those small losses, and the bounces cannot play out multiple times. And then the one time that it does play out, you will easily make back those small losses. So that's why trade management is so important, and that's why, the first signal doesn't play out. You protect your trade, you play the second signal, and it does get follow through. So Bitcoin on the hourly time frame, inside bar, we got the bull break. That bull break occurred at 95.29. We then had 4 hours of green where we made it up to 1,077. So over a $500 move in 4 hours with some nice upside, and we even got a little higher low and a higher high, but not significant. The reason I'm very cautious here, what stands out to me on this chart is the bulls have their bounces, but look at how easy the bears are able to completely erase these bounces. We have, 2 hours of a bounce completely erased in 1 hour, 4 hours of a bounce erased in 1 hour. So I don't like the magnitude and speed at which the bears can knock out all support levels and drive the price down. And again, like I said, I would have expected the bulls on this 4-hour time frame to make it to the mid $10,000 range to see this lower high set on this equilibrium pattern. As of right now, our lower high is $10,099. I would put that level right there, and that's the range I'm watching. 10,099 resistance, 9,135 support, and we will see whether the bulls are able to hold on, but I don't have much hope. I'm not saying the bulls can't show up, but I'm very cautious because I do believe further downside is coming, and the bounce over the last few hours, the last dozen hours, is leading me to believe that even further. So that's where we stand on Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin is the main driving force. The correlations we're seeing right now, Bitcoin and Litecoin are more correlated to each other. Ethereum is definitely correlated as well, but it's doing its own thing a little bit more significantly. So here on Ethereum, inside bar, technically we broke bearish by 61 cents. That's technical analysis is not an exact science. I call that a double bottom. If you're talking a $400 instrument and it's a 61 cent difference, we're talking 0.15% difference. that's a double bottom as far as I'm concerned. So technically, it's not an inside bar if you want to be, a technical definition. But for me, it is an inside bar, it is a tightening range, and it's a double bottom as far as I'm concerned. So we have another inside bar forming here today. We look at the 4-hour time frame, and we can see a very similar pattern where we have our high, low of the dump, lower high, higher low, and then we just formed another lower high. And you can see we're not really seeing much bullish upside on these moves. So our new resistance is 444.86. Our support is the low of the day, 401.50 and 402.11. We had a nice wall of support at 400 psychological. I personally was being extra cautious today. My time and my mind was taken up with Canadian MJ. So I had some bids set in the low 390s and upper 380s just in case we broke 400 and saw a quick flush in those stop losses triggering. We held by $1.50, and I didn't try and chase that trade. If I did, probably would have made some profit, but again, I was focused elsewhere, and I just was waiting for the trade to fall into my lap, and because it didn't, I didn't trade it. So there was a very solid bounce. We bounced 10% from the low to the high, and we look on the hourly time frame, and we saw inside bars break bullish. So we had the hourly time frame, and again, for the people that are new, the inside bar, the range fits completely within the range of the previous candlestick. Second inside bar fits completely within range of the previous candlestick. Bull break signal was 419.50. 3 hours later, we're up at 440. So a $20 move in 3 hours, a 5% move triggered by multiple hourly inside bars. And again, the alert service signals those inside bars breaking, so you don't have to be standing here staring at the screen. You get the signal that the inside bar broke. You can act on that. And of course, if you get some price shears to go along with it, you know that the bulls are showing up. So where we stand right now, support in the short term, 420, and then 400 psychological. Break 400 psychological, in my opinion, we're going to flush down. What this is doing, because we're not dumping, we're seeing contained movement, lower highs, lower lows. Because we have these lower highs with the bulls bouncing a little bit, they're cooling off RSI levels. This hourly RSI on Ethereum this morning was very close to oversold. Right now, it's in the mid-40s, and we're not close to oversold. So if we were to dump down under 400, I would say that we could get down to the 380s before we get to oversold on the RSI. It all depends on the magnitude of how fast we drop. So people ask me targets all the time, and it's very hard for me to explain targets because time is such a factor. If we dump down to this level, it's going to be a completely different scenario than if we stair step down. And again, it's because of the RSI and the rate at which we get oversold. So if we are going to bounce around and stair step down for the next 20 hours, it's going to be a completely different trade game plan for me than if we were to dump down in the next 5 hours and break that support. So we have to play it by the information that we are given, up to the minute. And as of right now, the bulls are still holding on, but we're approaching it's a different pattern for Ethereum. Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, higher lows, lower highs, equilibrium pattern. This is a descending triangle pattern where we have a horizontal double low of support at 400 and just a lower high pattern. I wouldn't be surprised to drop down and see another bounce from the low 400s, bounce again, see a lower high, maybe at around 425, 430, and then get lower and just watch the range continue to tighten all night and into tomorrow morning. So that's something I'll be keeping an eye out for. And that descending triangle pattern, you could draw a trend line of resistance if you desired. And that's where I would draw that trend line right now. I wouldn't be making any decisions based on the trend line. It's all price action for me and price levels that are most important. But that is where we are rejecting from, and that is a clear downtrend. So same thing for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I am not impressed with the bull's ability here. I'm very cautious. This daily time frame has only started to consolidate sideways. Look at how far we ran to the upside. This weekly chart on Ethereum could very easily pull back to 300 and 360, 370 and still be in a very strong uptrend. So cautious, looking for a flush under 400. I think that'd be a really nice entry opportunity. 4-hour RSIs oversold. We know that's our bread and butter in terms of long-term bounces. And if we were to flush under 400, then this 4-hour RSI on Ethereum would be getting down towards oversold. Bitcoin 4-hour RSI has a long way to go. We would have to drop down into the 7,000s, in my opinion, to see this. And these are just estimations, but we'd have to drop down into the low 8,000s or upper 7,000s to see this 4-hour RSI oversold. Litecoin, to wrap it up, Inside bar on the daily, second inside bar forming, support is 78, resistance is 93.50. 4-hour time frame, high, low, lower high, higher low, and now another lower high. Range is tightening up, nice and clear. Range at this point, 78 support, 88 resistance. So if you're using the 4-hour time frame, you get more details and a new resistance level. We have a 4-hour inside bar forming. We just had a 4-hour inside bar bull break that gave a trade from 84.83 up to 88.88. That's a nice 3-4% move to capture on that inside bar signal. We are oversold here. If we were to get to 4-hour oversold RSI, we would need to drop to the low 70s. Hourly time frame, nowhere near oversold. We were close this morning. The bulls held support. So we could have been looking at bottom fishing plays in Bitcoin and Litecoin where we look for an entry anticipating the higher low on the 4-hour equilibrium. And if we scale into that trade, we know to put a stop loss if the low of yesterday were to break. So we formed a higher low. That support was 76.01. We bounced off of 78. And we had an inside bar on the hourly. And it broke here in both directions because we would have to zoom in to see which it broke first. I was not watching Litecoin specifically today. But the bulls eventually did show up. Let's look at the 15-minute time frame to see when they showed up. So we had our clear dump. We bounced off of 78 support, still a lower high, bounced off of 78 again. So that's a very clear double bottom to the penny, still a lower high, higher low, higher high. Bull break occurred right here when 81.32 broke. And then we went all the way up to 88 a few hours later. So the signals were there, and again, anticipating that the odds that we are going to hold the low of yesterday, knowing that that was more likely than not, could have allowed us to bottom fish that support level and make an entry off of that. So I'm watching the 4-hour equilibriums on Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, although Ethereum is doing its own thing and not as correlated to the other two. Again, it's more of a descending triangle pattern where the others are clearer equilibrium patterns because we bounced more significantly above the low of yesterday. So they're tightening up. I'm going to go to sleep tonight and not feel like I'm missing a thing. If the bulls show up, I don't think it's going to be a significant move. And I do anticipate that the odds right now, and again, these are just in my head. I'm always calculating odds, and they're just guesstimations based on different inputs of information and different things that I've seen play out time and time again. So the way that this equilibrium pattern is playing out right now, I would say it's a 60% chance that we're going to see bearish breaks to lower lows from this consolidation pattern in these big three. I'm not going to act on that, but it's something that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for, and I'm certainly going to have it in the back of my mind on any trade entries that I am making. So that's where we stand. Again, the most important thing I want to convey in this video is that you need to adjust your trading game plan when we are entering different stages of trading. We are in consolidation mode. If you are trying to trade bullish in consolidation mode in the same way that we were in breakout mode, you're going to give back money. That's a guarantee. You have to adjust your trading game plan. You have to find other things to do to keep yourself busy and to keep yourself from pressing those buttons to enter those trades, whether it's studying up on education, watching the courses, doing your own outside research, learning how to trade options in the stock world. There are unlimited things that you can be doing in terms of furthering your education and preparing yourself for the next however many decades that you want to be doing this and allowing yourself, more financial freedom, financial independence, financial confidence, and the internet is your playground. Have at it.